Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. And on the program today, Nigerians celebrate 24 years of the annulled June 12th presidential elections. Anambra residents seek help to minimize erosion. And hospitals in Borno State get more funding for their operations. Most states in Nigeria's southwest region are observing today, Monday, June the 12th, as public holiday to commemorate the annulled 1993 presidential election. Now, on this day, 24 years ago, the late Chief Moshood Abiola was widely believed to have won the presidential election, but his victory was cut short by the military junta at that time, headed by retired General Ibrahim Babangida. Now, MK Abiola's refusal to accept the annulment got him arrested and detained for years. He later died in 1998. The election is adjudged as one of the freest and fairest in Nigeria's democratic history. It was the first presidential elections held in Nigeria since 1983, when the military took power in a coup. One of the southwest states marking the event is Ogun State, where Governor Amosun reiterated the fact that the sacrifices made by the late Chief Abiola transcend beyond the shores of Nigeria, while rights activists at the event continued their call for the day to be set aside as Nigeria's Democracy Day.
Chief MK Abiola is from here, but Chief MK Abiola's sacrifice transcend beyond all of us. Indeed, transcend the whole of this nation called Nigeria and even beyond. In the context of even Africa and even the world, everybody knows what Chief MK Abiola represents. And that is why it will be in our interest that we should not let that history. Everybody must continue. Whenever June 12 comes.
24 years after June 12, we want to insist that there should be a posthumous declaration of MK Abiola as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. June 12 should be declared our own Democracy Day.
Now, let's bring back some of the biggest events in Nigeria's political history and the agitations of Moshood Abiola 24 years ago to keep his mandate.
Nigerians want a change, and they have said so through the ballot box.
The decision of the federal military government to cancel the election of June 12 is invidious, unpatriotic.
Those were the emotions conveyed after the June 12, 1993 presidential elections were annulled by the then head of state, Ibrahim Babangida. And these were his reasons.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful. However, there was in fact a huge array of electoral practices virtually in all the states of the Federation before the actual voting began.
Riots, protests, civil disobedience, and everything possible were done to convince the military junta, but all to no avail. Years after the annulment, there is still huge support for the elections most people see as perhaps the freest and fairest in Nigeria's history. But that mandate never had sway. Painful but real, the sacrifice made of the 1993 polls may not be unconnected with the survival of Nigeria's budding democracy. Since the return to democracy in 1999, there's been a big question on the integrity of elections in the country. Since his death in 1998, MK Abiola has been seen by some people as a representation of the hopes and certainty of the agony and protest of those who suffer injustice. One can only hope that the people's voice will continually be heard as against the will of the few. Everyone indeed has a role to play in the sustenance of Nigeria's democracy and civil rights. But for now, it is still unclear what MK Abiola stands for nationally. Seun Okinbale, Channels Television News.
We're now joined on the program by Channels Television's Assistant General Manager Operations, Mr. Kingsley Uranta, who actually was one of the reporters following the events at that time. Now, you're welcome to the program, Mr. Uranta.
Thank you very much indeed, Dayo.
Yes, it's indeed great to have you. It must be a moment of nostalgia for you, looking back 24 years ago at the presidential elections. Give us your thoughts. What were your expectations at the time, or how did you see things playing out at the elections?
How time flies.
24 years.
24 years, no joke at all. For us, I was quite a young, ambitious reporter then, and of course propelled by the leadership of Channels Television, of course epitomized by the chairman, Mr. John Momo, and then VC, Mrs. Shola Momo, who actually gave me and my colleagues then confidence to say this is an opportunity for us to rewrite the style of reportage and to prove to the world that a Nigerian private TV station can make a difference in the way it reports the stories and the way it carried out its responsibilities with dignity, with sense of duty, with sense of nationalism, to give people a voice in what was happening in the country. And for us, Channels Television, just a news station then, to really prove that things could be done differently and professionally too.
Now, give us a feel. I mean, what were the preparations really like, for that elections, being, the first of its kind for a station like Channels, just coming on board?
If you know what it means to work for Channels Television, so you can imagine the kind of preparation. First of all, there was passion to succeed. And so we had to research, we had to have daily editorial conference to actually map out the structure, the slides, we had to talk about what angle to take, and everybody was on duty. If the call time was 7 o'clock, you'll be there. You better be there by 6 a.m. I was living at Shashia then, but so I had to leave my home at about 4 or 5 to get to the station, because the chairman would be there maybe an hour earlier waiting, and everybody will be coming with ideas. So we would have an editorial conference, we'll determine who to speak to, and of course bringing the ethos of the profession, talking about balance, right, talking about fairness, the right to hear the other side of the story. And so everybody had his hands on deck. There were no lazy moments, because when you come in there, you have to bring something to the table. Are you talking about the cameramen who must make sure their shots are balanced? Are you talking about the reporters who must make sure they come with a lot of ideas? Are you talking about the fact that you have to be brave and ask the right questions? You have to step on toes, but you have to get the job done. And in fact, that was one of the reasons Channels became, and still is, the station to watch. If you want to watch the news, that'll be useful to you. So for us, it was an opportunity to prove a point. And working in Channels then, as it is today, has always been a rare privilege.
Now, will you say there's been anything different? I know there was a break, for a couple of years after 1993. We didn't have elections again until 1998, leading to 1999. I mean, you've seen other elections take place since then up to now. What would you say the standard is like?
Well, things have improved. Technology has come in. In 1993, we didn't have much of technology, so everything depended on your passion, your flair. The flair you bring to the job, but technology is everywhere, and so
kind of make things a little bit easier.
And sometimes people become a bit less adventurous, and somehow lazy. But As I said earlier on, the tradition that was built in 1993 is still the guiding principle for what we do today on Channels Television. So that is our strong heritage.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kingsley Uranta. We thank you so for taking us down memory lane. We do appreciate your thoughts.
My great pleasure.
All right, we'll go on this break now, and when we come back on the program, yes, we'll go to Anambra State where we find out how the authorities there are trying to deal with the issue of erosion. Join us again.